If you would come now from Jacob Chapel Baptist Church to give us our opening invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by our Vice Chairman, Commissioner Maddox. Mr. Simmons. Okay. It's okay. Okay. You got it? Okay. All right. Vice Chairman Maddox, would you stand in for the pastor? We have a black robe in my office that will fit you.
That's a little dangerous. I'm gonna stay away from that. Stay away from that. I tell you what, in the spirit of my old football coach, for every football game, I did this one time before we used to say the Lord's Prayer. Join in if you like. Not I understand. Everybody bow your head, please. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, let us stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're excited tonight again for your presence. As we get started now, we want to recognize some very special, distinguished people who are here. And first, we want Commissioner Cummings to go forward now, and to Commissioner, I just see two words that just stand out to me. You know what those two words are, but we now recognize Commissioner Cummings as she gives a presentation on behalf of our board. See those two words? See those two words?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is certainly my honor at this time, Mr. Chair, to recognize a very distinguished organization here in Leon County, Tallahassee, Florida, the Charmettes Incorporated. We have with us Dr. Melinda James, who is the current president of the organization, and the members, and I would like to ask them to join me here at the podium.
Ladies of the Charmettes, you've been summoned to come to the podium.
Okay, and I'm gonna come over here. You change it. Okay, y'all can come on both sides. Both sides. Mm-hmm. Y'all can come on. Just say, yeah, on both sides. Dr. James and members of the Charmettes, on behalf of the Leon County Commission, I'd like to present you with this proclamation and also read it to you in commemoration of 50 years of service that you all have provided to Leon County, Tallahassee, Florida. And it reads, whereas the Leon County Board of County Commission recognizes the Leon County chapter of the Charmettes Incorporated and recognizes that over 500 young women, primarily of African American descent, have been formally introduced to the Tallahassee community during the 50 years of the annual Charmettes Debutante Presentation and Ball. And whereas the Leon County Board of County Commission recognizes that the members of the Leon County chapter of the Charmettes Incorporated has provided enormous benefits to the Leon County community through its socially conscious programs for the debutantes that include etiquette and social graces, training, professional development, health and wellness awareness, financial literacy, scholarship awareness, and social media decorum. And whereas the Leon County Board of County Commission recognizes that the Leon County chapter of the Charmettes Incorporated has fostered the notion of giving back by encouraging the debutantes to engage in volunteer activities, including Relay for Life, Raleigh House Annual Rockathon, Hospice Tree of Remembrance, and other outstanding community service projects. And whereas the Leon County Board of County Commission recognizes that the Leon County chapter of the Charmettes Incorporated has awarded more than $700,000 in academic scholarships to debutante participants. And whereas the Leon County Board of County Commission recognizes that the young women have demonstrated exceptional transfer of their Charmette training to excel in an array of professional fields and areas of employment, which includes but are not limited to education, law, human resources, information technology, and entrepreneurship. And whereas the Leon County Board of County Commission recognizes that the participation of young women in the Leon County chapter of the Charmettes Incorporated debutante presentation and ball, with the support of parents, relatives, friends, and this community, has resulted in their growth and development as contributing members of society. And whereas the Leon County Board of County Commission recognizes that the successful longevity of the debutante presentation and ball has resulted in the participation of mothers, fathers, daughters, and male escorts as part of the program. And whereas the Leon County Board of County Commission recognizes that the collective legacy and lofty ideals of the Charmettes are noteworthy virtues that have made an indelible impact upon our community and a positive impact upon the lives of young ladies who have gone through the debutante experience. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Leon County Board of County Commission that the Leon County chapter of the Charmettes Incorporated is highly commended for their superior contributions to the youth of Leon County. And be it further resolved that we encourage the citizens of Leon County to support the work of this exemplary service organization and to support the young women who are presented to the community each year by the Leon County chapter of the Charmettes Incorporated Debutante Presentation and Ball. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. We did all of that? Wow.
And more.
And more, okay. Commissioner Proctor and all members of the commission, we want to just thank you and have you know we don't take this for granted. But we do the work that we do because we know that this is our community and we want to support and look out for all these young people that we work with. And so we thank you, and we thank you, and we thank you.
Amen. Madam President, Commissioner Jackson wants to weigh in with the word.
That's my cousin.
Now, you know I would not let my cousin come into the chambers and speak without me pointing that out. And by all means, Ms. Cradwell, you didn't contact me. I could have wore a red tie or a pin or something. But there are a couple of legends in this group that I personally have worked with over the years. And the amazing ability they have and the time that they make to work with young people and old folks in our community is greatly appreciated. Dr. James, as she is known now, was Dr. Jackson originally, and we're positive of some bloodlines there. And then one of the kindest souls ever, Mrs. Bradwell, has been extremely influential in teaching me a lot of lessons about life. So I'm sure all of you other ladies are just as fantastic, but I want to give a big shout out to those two examples for me.
Amen. Anybody else want to weigh in with this outstanding service organization? Commissioner Welch?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say real quickly that I think we should make a proclamation to have Commissioner Cummings read all future proclamations. Because that was the most compelling proclamation recitation that I have ever heard. Thank you, Commissioner Cummings, and congratulations to all of you ladies, and thank you for all you do in our community.
Thank you.
Commissioner Minor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say you all are a force in this community. Thank you for everything that you do. And to read off the accolades, I mean, it's just really incredible. I mean, we knew that you did a lot, but actually go through all that, and then there's more than that, is really impressive. So thanks to all of you for everything that you do for this county and for this community.
Commissioner Dozier, I know you want some. Go ahead.
Well, sir, I have to present a proclamation next. So after Commissioner Welch's comments, I'm getting a little nervous here. I didn't get the memo, but I'm glad I was in spirit with you today. Thank you for all you've done. And just picking up on only one word out of that remarkable proclamation, I'm glad entrepreneurship is being included in what these young ladies are learning. Black women are a leading force in starting new businesses in this town and across the country. And we need our young women to really understand that and to lead, to follow those footsteps, know their opportunities. So of all of the things you do, that one stood out to me and I truly appreciate it. Thank you all.
Well, we're not going to recognize the vice chair because he led the invocation. I'm going to let Reverend Holmes know that he might be ready to be a deacon at the church now. Made your prayer like the Our Father prayer, ready to be a good deacon. Go ahead, brother, Vice Chairman.
Thank you. I have a unique experience of being able to say I've been to the past few debutantes, and I tell you one thing that people don't really understand that you guys do with those debutantes is the time that you put into the family aspect of it. And that's the part I appreciate the most when you think about the fact that you bring families together to celebrate their young people and their friends, and that is absolutely amazing. And so congratulations on 50 years, but congratulations on bringing young people and their families together. It's really special to our community. Thank you.
Debutantes I have, do you know, is the closing word that Commissioner Welch thinks that Commissioner Cummings should write these, recite the proclamations. But I want y'all to know I stayed up all night writing that thing. And even after writing it, I'm stepping on my own toe because out of all that you've done, I did not hear mention of your support of the Howard University Cancer Research Center. So please note that we know that you supported Howard University Cancer Research, and that meant a lot. God bless you. Thank you for coming. You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
Congratulations. Well deserved.
Amen. As we move forward, Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, this is a hard act to follow, but right, Natasha? Yes. And we'll take a bit of a serious note here for our annual proclamation honoring Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. And I am very pleased to welcome to the chambers this year, she joined us virtually last year, Natasha Akoff, to represent the MS community in this town and all the great work you do. So thank you very much. And before the meeting, we were, this is something that is very close to my heart and something we share for a lot of different conditions. They're the invisible conditions. They come in really random forms of symptoms. It's hard to figure out what's going on. We were talking about the need for our medical doctors that are great in this community to really understand that, but also more specialists, but also in our workforce, understanding the challenges with MS or other conditions, and that we have phenomenal workers who may just need a little tweak in what we offer them in the office space or other environments can really help their lives, help all of us, help our businesses. So with that, I will read the proclamation. Hopefully I will do it as well as Commissioner Cummings. Whereas multiple sclerosis, MS, is a neurological disease at the center of the nervous system, affecting nearly 1 million people in the United States. And whereas MS generally strikes people in the prime of their life, between the ages of 20 through 50, and the causes and course are often debilitating symptoms of MS remain unknown and no cure exists. Whereas the National Multiple Sclerosis Society has been committed for 76 years to a world free of MS, highlighting public knowledge about and insights into the disease. And whereas together we have transformed what it means to live with MS and provide global leadership to help achieve our vision of a world free of MS. And whereas since 1946, the National MS Society has been a driving force of MS research, relentlessly pursuing prevention, treatment, and cure, and has invested more than $1 billion in groundbreaking research. And whereas funds raised through the National MS Society fuel research and pathways to an MS cure, and invest in MS research workforce at the best medical centers, universities, and other institutions throughout the U.S. and abroad, leading to many breakthroughs in treatment of MS. And whereas stopping MS in its tracks, restoring what has been lost, and ending MS forever is the mission of the National MS Society, and one that all Americans and all Floridians should support. And whereas Leon County recognizes the importance of finding the cause and cure of MS and expresses its appreciation for the dedication that the North Florida National MS Society chapter is showing towards a world free of MS. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Leon County that the month of March, and yes, we only had one meeting in March, so we're doing this after the fact, the month of March was known as National Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. And we encourage all residents of Leon County to learn more about multiple sclerosis and what they can do to support individuals with MS and their families. Visit our local Facebook page at TLH Living with MS. And it's dated the 8th of March and signed by the full board. Natasha, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate your efforts.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Commissioner Dozier, for your continued support. The rest of the commission, we appreciate you for having us and for presenting us with the proclamation. As you mentioned during the proclamation, there is no cure for MS, but it is an invisible disease, and there are a lot of people in our communities that are affected by MS. But it's one of those things where, as a part of the proclamation and our continued support in the community, we're able to continue to raise awareness. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. There are far too many people that are being diagnosed with MS and think it's a death sentence, and that's not the case. So as we continue to raise awareness, as we continue to fundraise and fund the research, we're able to hopefully stop MS in its tracks, because it's progressive. It does not stop. And for people like me that live with MS, I want to make sure I can continue to live a full life of whatever, So thank you again for having me, and I appreciate you all.
Very good. Okay. Commissioner Maddox.
Thank you. You guys don't know this, but Tasha is my catering with care partner. She's always sitting at my table or across from my table. Tasha, I want you to tell them a little. No, it's my table, man. It's my table. You just borrow it sometimes. Come on up and tell us about your plans for next year. I want to go ahead and put everybody on notice. She had talked to me about a couple of things she planned on doing next year.
Yes. So this year we are hosting a Together for a Cure luncheon. It's a virtual luncheon on September 22nd. That information can be found on our website, tlhmsgroup.org. But then next year, we are planning to host a more official MS Walk. So we kind of threw one together this year. That we were small in number, but the support was there. But we want to encourage the community to come out and support us like we do for all the walks, So more information will come out for that. Hopefully the walk will be sometime March 2023. So
where's that luncheon going to be at, Tasha?
The luncheon is virtual. So you can nationalmssociety.org/MS Luncheon Tallahassee, or again, visit our website, tlhmsgroup.org, and the information is on there as well.
Thank you. She is I guess we'll call it survivor, but this is a labor of love for her. I watch her work hard every single day in that restaurant. Every time she comes in there, she asks me a new question about what she should do. And I just want you to know, congratulations on getting this year's luncheon done. We look forward to next year's walk. I'm sure all the commissioners will participate. I'll certainly be there. We look to try to be involved as much as we can. Thank you so much for your hard work.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Dozier.
if I may be so presumptuous, can I count on you, Mr. Vice Chair, to carry the proclamation through next year, since I won't be here to request it? Thank you very much. Continue our tradition. I gotcha.
Now, you received orders from the mayor, so follow through. All right, Mr. Vice Chair, for our next recognition.
All right. Oh, man, if I could have Mr. Vaughn Wilson to meet me up front, please.
Mr. Wilson, come as you are, sir.
Kind of disappointed because every time he sees me and my wife together, he always says he wants to recognize his favorite. He calls her name. I was hoping to call Thais instead of you today to get you back, but unfortunately she couldn't make it. But she is on this proclamation. All right. He's an interesting story. He doesn't give himself enough credit. A few years ago, he kind of started from scratch with Mega Ace Productions after some turbulent times, and has grown to a point now that he is able to employ 2 part-time employees. An example of a small business started from scratch and creating jobs here in Leon County, and we appreciate you. We really do. Whereas under leadership of Vaughn and Thais Wilson, Mega Ace Media engaged Leon County and its surrounding communities to culminate in celebrating Black History Month by strengthening Black businesses in our community with a convention having the goal of increasing Black business development. And whereas the Black Business Expo brought in multiple components of our community to support the efforts of and foster relationships between Black businesses, agencies, contractors, and financial institutions in an environment conducive to the advancement of business operations. And whereas the Black Business Expo utilized the services of the Tallahassee-Leon County Office of Economic Vitality to sponsor and assist in the planning of the event with their knowledge and expertise in fostering business growth within the community. And whereas Black businesses in Tallahassee had the opportunity to differentiate themselves from the national trend and begin successful reinvention as the world heals from a global pandemic that stunted businesses in general, but devastated Black businesses specifically at an exponential advanced rate. And whereas the Black Business Expo brought together resources within Leon County in a unique way, offering guidance, networking, and partnership with Black businesses in Tallahassee that may otherwise feel alienated and excluded from receiving valuable services and resources. And whereas our 120 registrants attended the Black Business Expo, which brought together all 3 local chambers of commerce, that's really huge, including the Big Bend Minority Chamber of Commerce, Capital City Chamber of Commerce, and Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce, who all offered free memberships to the businesses in attendance at the expo. And whereas the inaugural Black Business Expo has been deemed a success for not only the excitement it has created in the Black business community and its progressiveness in bringing people together, but for the local businesses and agencies who welcome the opportunity to engage Black businesses that will benefit from their services. And whereas on the spot, the Black Business Expo was able to issue, 11 grants of $500 to businesses in attendance, resulting in a total of $5,500 of economic stimulus for local businesses. And whereas the Black Business Expo has helped to stimulate the Tallahassee economy through education, resources, and partnerships. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Leon County Commissioners that we honor and celebrate Vaughn and Thais Wilson as a Mega Ace Media for the trailblazing vision of the inaugural Black Business Expo of Tallahassee. This is signed by the chairman, myself, the rest commission, and attested to by the county administrator. Congratulations, sir.
There's a way to turn a 6'4", 290-pound guy to mush. And that's the bring. That's to bring Darryl Jones and Christina Paredes in my presence. We were dead in the water. Lost every contract as the world shut down. And Darryl Jones made me come down to OAV. Said, register your business, let's get this going. And we went. And we got it going. To the point where We developed new businesses, and OAV was one of the first people to hire us to do their meetings, which had to be virtual, hybrid meetings. Christina called me one night and said, Vaughn, I need you to do a hybrid Zoom, figure it out, be in my office tomorrow at 11. And I was there at 10:30, nervous, and we pulled off that, resulted in 3 contracts for 2 years with OAV, Blueprint, CAC, MWSBE. Got my business back on its feet. And then Daryl and Christina start recommending me to other people. That office worked a miracle. To the point where last month I hired 2 part-time staffers. We went from 0 to exceeding our capacity. So I'm sorry if I'm a little baby, but. So we did the Black Business Expo because I knew that black businesses never reached out for help. Never. I started reading. Forbes magazine said 40% of black businesses shut down within 90 days of the pandemic for good. Only 20% of black businesses got PPP loans. So as we started getting on our feet and got in position, in December, I called a meeting with Daryl and Christina. I said, I want to have a Black Business Expo because I've got to connect the black businesses to all the resources that we have here. And Daryl said, okay, so we're going to do it in 2023. I said, no, they won't be around in 2023. I'm talking 70 days from now. And we pulled it off, and Tallahassee was just amazing. Tallahassee, construction companies, everyone poured money in, not only poured money in, they showed up, Leon County, City of Tallahassee. And I just want to say, please continue to support OEV, because last week, a couple of weeks ago, something unprecedented happened. I'm about to sit down. Something unprecedented happened. Gillum's Sisters Restaurant, which we know was a vibrant black business on Tharp Street. Well, Daryl Jones called a meeting with Gillum Sisters, Small Business Development Center, myself and the Gillum Sisters to sit down and figure out what happened to get a plan going, and I think they're going in the right direction. That's what we need to foster and help, to actually help businesses. That's the kind of action we need. So I want to thank them. Thank you very much, Nick. My wife and I are very appreciative of this. I have a new problem now that you all let Scott Carswell schedule Earth, Wind, and Fire. My phone is blowing up.
Vaughn, I know you got my front row ticket. We'll talk about that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dozier, Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Y'all take his picture.
I don't want to get in the middle of this, for sure.
Godfather Daryl Jones is in that picture. Commissioner Dozier, go right ahead.
Well, for Mr. Williams, Vaughn, I just want to say how much I appreciate you sharing your personal, heartfelt story about that time during the pandemic and how supportive. I mean, just beyond that, I'm very happy to hear your reflections on the last couple of years. I'm not surprised at all that Christina Paredes and Daryl Jones stepped up to help. But I also think it's significant. We don't hear the personal stories very often. I mean, I do when I'm out in the community. I'm sure we do, individually. But in this chamber, we haven't heard as many stories about those businesses who got the COVID grants that we were able to do because we had set aside that money for OEV and the nonprofits. And the numbers you cite, I mean, those are kind of burned into my mind about 40% of black business, only 40% getting PPP loans and others. We were in the most unique position of any county in the state and probably the nation to have money and ready to get it out the door to businesses before the federal government or state government were able to get that done and to make sure that it got into the right hands. Now, you're right, we need the education, make sure people know where the resources are. The expo was phenomenal, and hopefully we're going to keep building on that success. But I think we don't need to forget that time and how we stepped up and significantly our staff created a program, this county administrator, and this extends to your team in the county as well, and OEV. They stepped up to create programs that no one had ever seen before. And we were able to help your business and others, and that's what this is all about. So thank you again for sharing that. Thank you for your leadership, and good luck in the future. Yeah, we look forward to many more things to come.
Excellent. Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to briefly congratulate Mr. Wilson for his dedication, his sincerity, and his concern about minority businesses in this community. I was fortunate enough to attend the last portion of that expo. It was the same day as the Harambe Festival, so I couldn't attend it all, but I can tell you it had the appearance of having been prepared for a whole year. There were businesses there that were represented. There were individuals that had donated funds in support of the function, and I just hope that it's something that you will continue to do, perhaps on an annual basis, Mr. Wilson. So thank you so much to you and your wife. Congratulations. And I am certainly in your corner as far as support from the county, support from Blueprint to support our minority businesses, so you can count on me. So thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'm a stickler for words and their meaning. And the vice chairman indicated that Mr. Wilson began a business from scratch. And Mr. Administrator, I'm not sure if we have an ordinance that describes starting a business from scratch. But I'm grateful for the godmother of economic development, Christina Paredes, and the godfather of economic development, Darrell Jones, for their service. But scratch, Mr. Vice Chairman, when your family have owned a 105 FM radio station and your family have owned the Capital Outlook newspaper for years, that ain't exactly starting from scratch. So, I mean, there's scratch, then there's scratch. Scratch, but he ain't started from no, like scratch. So, that little modification, great word, man. Thank you, Vaughn. We love you, man. Thank you so much. All right, our next presentation comes from, is a presentation and proclamation recognizing Big Bend Hospice, and we invite you to come forward. Dr. Marshall. Dr. Marshall, I'm so excited. I've been excited for this moment. Where's Ms. Cromartie?
She's over there taking pictures.
Ms. Cromartie, come on up here,
Tell her
please.
to come. Yes, right. Thank you.
Ms. Cromartie, this is the Big Bend Hospice Association organization serving our community. And I want to share with you all, we're so glad to see you, this proclamation coming from our board. Whereas the Big Bend Hospice, Inc. was founded in Tallahassee, Florida on April 1, 1983 by medical and community leaders. And their purpose was to provide quality and compassionate end-of-life care. And whereas for nearly 40 years, Big Bend Hospice has helped provide comfort and dignity to thousands of people, allowing them to spend their final months at home, surrounded by loved ones. And whereas Big Bend Hospice integrated care model involves an interdisciplinary, team-oriented approach to compassionate care, including expert medical care, quality symptom control, and comprehensive pain management as a fountain of care. And whereas beyond providing a medical intervention, Big Bend Hospice attends to the patient's emotional, spiritual, and family needs and provides family services such as respite care and bereavement counseling. And whereas the Big Bend Hospice delivers expert care to improve quality of life and relief from pain, whereas 1.6 million Americans with life-limiting illness and their families receive care from the nation's hospice programs in communities throughout the United States in 2021. Whereas hospice and palliative care organizations are strong advocates and educators for advanced care planning that help individuals make decisions about the care they want at the end of life. And whereas the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services have pledged to put patients first in all of its programs, including hospice, ensuring a coordinated and patient-led approach to care, protecting patient choice and access to individualized services based on a patient's unique care needs and wishes. Now, therefore, we, the Leon County Board of County Commissioners, do honor Big Bend Hospice, Inc., dated on this 12th day of April, signed by all of our commissioners and attested to by our county administrator. We appreciate y'all for what you do. And commissioners and Leon County community, these words are absolutely, all of them are accurate. And the Proctor family, and the loss of my father last April, we experienced the breadth of care that these words can't even convey. And with you all's assistance, it certainly touched our family, and I'm sure many more. So we thank you and we recognize you all for your good work. God bless you.
On behalf of our CEO, Bill Wertman, who had every intention of being here today, the senior leadership, and the over 270 employees and 120 volunteers of Big Bend Hospice, I'm proud to accept this proclamation with the gratitude of the recognition of the work that we do to contribute to the peace and comfort for those who are at the end of life. It truly warms our heart to know that we have elected officials who think so highly of the work that we do each and every day across 8 counties that we will receive this document. It is our CEO's hope that we will be invited back at a future meeting of the commissioners to give a more in-depth presentation of the services that our hometown hospice try to provide on a consistent basis in our ongoing efforts to reach all communities. With the creation of my current position in diversity, equity, and inclusion, we are paying particular attention to minority communities to ensure equitable health care practices. Once again, thank you so very much, Commissioner Proctor and your colleagues, for honoring us during this public meeting.
Mr. Vice Chair?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Marshall, thank you. Mr. Chairman, thank you for the proclamation. I'm guessing many of us have connections with hospice over the years and truly appreciate all of the incredible work you do. There might have been one thing of all of the different things you do, one thing that stands out to me very personally, and it hit home just in the last couple weeks. My fiance is a widower, and after his wife passed, he benefited from the grief counseling at hospice. That experience has touched our lives for years, And just in the last couple weeks, a friend of ours lost his father, and he was able to provide some comfort based on what he learned in his experience with hospice. So of all the things you do, continuing to help families after, it means a great deal, and it continues. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. This is a heartfelt proclamation born out of, unfortunately, experience. But I will never forget hospice and its meaning to our family. And I genuinely believe that it's a hidden figure among service organizations which provide a unique, tailored offering to the counties, the citizens who really don't know what to do. There's no blueprint. There's no book to go by. And they step in and they understand situations. And I thank God for them. A very meaningful way. And I'm hopeful, Commissioners, that there is some way that as a county, we can amplify and through our media command, provide and allow for the community to know of the free 99, free services, tangible, meaningful, valuable of what this organization. So I'm really hopeful in the coming days that we can integrate, and they're not a county agency, but boy, if we could adopt them, it would be meaningful. So thank you all so much from our family and from the family of Leon County. We move next to recognize Commissioner Bruce Host and Commissioner Welch. Before there was a Commissioner Deloge, and before that there was a Commissioner Agrippa, and before that there was the man, the myth and the legend, Commissioner Bruce Host, whose outstanding work has warranted and led to our county adopting the name of the Northeast Library, the Bruce J. Host Leon County Library. And if passed there, gone up there, didn't know who that man was, that's that man. And his wife is here today, Ms. Sandra Host. Just wave your hand, Sandra. And they've been a beautiful team providing leadership for the county and most especially for District 4. So, Commissioner Host, we recognize you, Colonel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's been a while since I was in this chamber, you know, and what is amazing to me is the fact that you're still here.
Sit down, Bruce. Turn his mic off.
Anyway, I tell you, after hearing those proclamations, you know, I'm humbled. It's been a while, and as I said, and I don't get a chance to hear that, and I don't think most of our community does. I wish there were a way to get that out in the public, those proclamations, because the story they tell is so important. The kinds of folks that come here to be recognized by you folks are truly amazing people. What I've brought today is a plaque that is being held here. Thank you very much for doing that. That represents the names of outstanding Leon County veterans. I'm representing the Hall of Fame Society, which is a 501c3 nonprofit that we started to provide funding for the Hall of Fame. There are 121 members in the Hall of Fame. It just started in 2011, and it's our purpose as a society is to provide the funding and be sure that the Hall of Fame can continue in perpetuity. This plaque represents the 19 people that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was established in 2011 by the Florida legislature to recognize the men and women of Florida who, by their actions as veterans, distinguished themselves and brought honor to the state of Florida. The Hall of Fame is not a military Hall of Fame. It rather recognizes the works of people who have left the service and what they've done as veterans. To date, as I said, 19 of those individuals come from Leon County. And the plaque, of course, has room for additional names because we expect that other veterans in our community will be inducted in the future. Any veteran can be nominated by anyone. The nomination criteria and timing is on the Veterans Hall of Fame .org website and also on our society website, which is fvhofsociety.org. This plaque is to be displayed in the courthouse in perpetuity, and the society plans to do this for veterans in all 67 counties. Of the 19 members, 5 are no longer with us. They're Marine Corps Lieutenant General Larry Snowden, Sheriff Larry Campbell, Governor Leroy Collins, Navy Captain Dale Doss, who spent 5 years as a POW and was in Vietnam and was the Director of Veteran Service here in Leon County. And finally, the Supreme Court Justice and former President of the University of Florida, Stephen C. O'Connell, for whom the Florida basketball arena is named. I don't know if there are any members of those deceased that are with us. A couple of people called and indicated they would come. I don't know that there are any here. If they are, would you please stand? Guess not. I was looking specifically for Jack Campbell, who would represent his father, the state's attorney, and also Justice O'Connell's grandson, Landon, and his wife, Amber, had planned to be here. But anyway, the remaining 15 members of the hall that are on this plaque have distinguished themselves in a variety of ways. In the first class of 2013 was Marine Lieutenant General Bob Milligan, who was the comptroller of the state of Florida, and which we now call the Chief Financial Officer. In the 2015 class is Chief Master Sergeant Charles LaCroix, who was the post, district, and area commander of the American Legion. In the 2016 class was Army Colonel Washington Sanchez, who was the chairman of the Florida Veterans Foundation. In the 2017 class, we had 3 members: Seaman John Folsom, the American Legion Post Commander and their current chaplain, who helped establish the Big Bend Honor Guard. We have Air Force Colonel Bruce Host, that's me, and I founded the Hall of Fame. And finally, Army Captain John Thrasher, the past president of Florida State University. In 2018, the class brought in Air Force Captain John Marks, the mayor of Tallahassee, former mayor, and Chief Master Sergeant John Smith, who established a high school junior ROTC program, starting with the Air Force at Godby High School, who, by the way, John Schmidt, I learned today, is recovering from a broken back. He's in Westminster Oaks, so we wish him well. The 2019 class contained Air Force Brigadier General Bill Webb, who, following his tour as an air attaché in China, for which he was inducted into the Military Attaché Hall of Fame, then served 12 years in private industry in China, and finally settled with his wife, Monsi, in Tallahassee, where he's been very involved in community activities. The 2020 class gave us 3 distinguished members: Army Colonel Ronald Joe, president of 100 Black Men of Tallahassee, a mentoring program, and Joe is a well-known motivational speaker. Army Colonel Claude Shipley is a leader in Military Officers Association, the West Point Society, the VFW, and American Legion, among others. And Marine Corps Captain and astronaut Norm Thagard, who was instrumental in establishing the Challenger Learning Center. In fact, Leon County provided the seed money when I was on the commission to help get the Challenger Center going. Finally, the class of 2021 contains 2 Leon County residents: Air Force Colonel Billy Francis, the Director of Veteran Services at FSU, and Air Force Captain David Wilson, who's with us here, and the Air Force Association's head of fundraising for the Carillon Bell Tower at the Veterans National Cemetery in Tallahassee. These 2 folks will be formally inducted into the Hall on April 27th. the hall. Would David, you and your wife, please stand, be recognized? I don't know if there are any other Hall of Fame members. I don't think so. But anyway, David Wilson. Commissioners, I want to thank Matt Cabell from your Community Relations section for setting up the program, and your Veteran Service Officer in particular, Ben Bradwell. When you do your funding, don't forget Ben and the work that all the VSOs, the Veteran Service Officers throughout the state, do for our veterans. We work closely with them to keep track of the status of our Hall of Fame members, 95 of whom are no longer with us. Finally, let me point out that this plaque contains a QR code right here on the bottom, which means quick response. So you can use your smartphone and put it on that plaque, and it'll give you the bio of every member on that plaque. The Society has also produced a book called Still Serving, and it contains the bios of each member of the Hall of Fame to date. It can be purchased on Amazon.com and Lulu.com. Chairman Proctor, it's a real pleasure on behalf of Florida Veterans Hall of Fame Society to present to you and the Leon County Commission this plaque with the names of 19 veterans from Leon County who have excelled and been admitted into the Florida Veterans Hall of Fame.
Amen.
Commissioner Jackson.
I want to thank Commissioner Host for coming out today and pointing out the work of these veterans, not only in Leon County, but all across the state and nation. But I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Coach David Wilson, who has forgotten more about leadership than I'll ever know. And it was a fine example for young people as a school administrator and a veteran who always did things the right way at Lincoln High School. And when I think back to my career just breaking into administration, you were an example I would want to emulate. Led young men on the football field and then took home for some reason the crazy assignment of school administration. But Coach Wilson and I go a long ways back, and he is someone I respect greatly, and you did great by recognizing that guy. I'm sure all the others are deserving as well, but thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim.
Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Colonel Host, Commissioner Host, I just wanted to acknowledge Commissioner Proctor's mention of your previous service on this board, and as one of my a handful of predecessors in District 4 on the County Commission. I just want to say I've not had the pleasure of sitting with my other ones, but I have had the pleasure of sitting with Commissioner Host, and I feel, as Commissioner Proctor alluded to, probably inadequate to fill your shoes on this board, but I am privileged to do so, and I have tremendous respect for you, and I want to say thank you so much for all you do, not just for the veterans, but still sending us the occasional emails about things we can do to be better and help Northeast with the libraries and all that kind of stuff, and have a soft spot for the veterans, and certainly look forward to working with you, Colonel, on anything that we can do to help you with the Veterans Hall of Fame, and just want to reiterate my tremendous respect for you, and thanks for letting me sit in your chair. Thank you, sir.
These chairs are transitory. Remember that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a small gift for each one of the commissioners. I'll bring them on.
Come on, Commissioner, if you drop. Coach David Wilson, if you please stand, sir. Commissioners, I take Chairman's privilege of noticing an outstanding member, Mrs. Wilson, if you please stand. Coach David Wilson is the man, the myth, and the legend. Legendary coach of Lincoln High School, who likely, as a high school coach, has probably produced the most players from the high school to serve and gone into the National Football League. Coach Wilson has sent so many young men to play at D1, other levels. A great model, pillar at Lincoln, and probably Coach Jacobs at FAMU High, yourself, and I guess Gene Cox probably produce more pros coming from your programs than any coaches that I can think of. And Coach, we're just glad to see you. I didn't know you were a veteran, so keep learning things. God bless you. We thank you, Commissioner Host. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Wilson. We thank the hosts for remembering veterans, for bringing a torch, a lamplight for us to remember and to commemorate their work here in this seat of government in the People's Building, the Leon County Courthouse. We're going to take good care of that. It's going to be placed prominently. God bless you all. As we continue now, are there citizens who would like to speak at the 3-minute mark? We will welcome those citizens who filled out speakers' cards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have one speaker under this portion of the agenda, and that speaker is Whitfield Leland III. Whitfield Leland III, excuse me. Thank you.
Mr. Leland, if you please state your name and address for our record.
Whitfield Leland, 754 West 7th Avenue, Tallahassee, Florida. I apologize the way I look. I was on my food truck today, but I came to support the status for men and boys. But I also want to let it be known that, or suggest that we keep in mind that what are we trying to do with the status of men and boys is not on the government. We have to keep in mind that it's on the community, and we have to get the community fully involved. And that don't just mean the commissioners that, cover district, south side, north side. I mean, all over this district, man, we got to, as a community, pour into if we're going to do this. This is not necessarily about funding. It's about everybody hands on deck. And I think that we have a good thing going. So I just wanted to support the status of men and boys.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Leland.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, we just received one additional card from the consent agenda on a consent item which has been pulled. This is on the Economic Development Dashboard, item number 20, and the speaker is Stanley Sims.
Mr. Sims, you're recognized. Please state your name.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is Stanley Sims. I'm at 1320 Avondale Way. I just want to say Mr. Vaughn Wilson is my class president at Florida A&M High School. We went to school together. I used to copy off of his paper. I didn't get a lot of it, but because his handwriting was bad, Ms. Osteen, he was left-handed. And it's hard to copy off of left-handed people writing, but we made it through. The economic development scope. Now, I want to highlight that because my classmate is a prime example when everyone have access, when everybody is placed on an equal footing. My classmate didn't have a motion made by the mayor to personally exclude me from getting assistance from OEV. My classmate didn't have that. OEV has done a wonderful job of signing us up for getting minority certification. But Jimbo, where do we go next? Well, I'm glad you asked me. We are currently, not me, we, Nick, are working to put together a social entrepreneur network for disadvantaged small businessmen like myself. And we brought stakeholders together. Some didn't come willingly, some needed a little push, but they are coming together. And we are developing a network that works for economic depressed communities so that we all go forth. Commissioner Dozier, that number, 40% fails in 90 days, and only 20% receive government assistance. Mr. Shington reached outside of the box, heard Vince Long cry, and despite all, put me on the team. And I was able to show Mr. Shington that a lot was distrust. And so we've got to gain that trust back, that partnership. We're together, we're stronger when we work together. I know I'm Cousin Leo and everybody don't like me, but let me come to the family reunion. Boom, shakalaka. I got a little bit more time. I got some. Oh, it's gone.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the speakers under this portion of the agenda, and you're on the consent agenda.
Okay, Commissioners, we are now at our ready point for our agenda. Is there a motion for our...
You have several items pulled. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. You have several items pulled. I'll just tell you items 5, 10, 14, 16, 18, and 20 have been pulled by Chairman Proctor. Item 12 was pulled by Commissioner Cummings, and item 15 has been removed from the agenda. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioners...
Mr. County Administrator, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Could we have that list again since...
Yes, items 5, 10, 14, 16, 18, and 20 by Commissioner Proctor. Item 12 by Commissioner Cummings, and as reflected in your revised agenda, item 15 has been removed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. We want to move a motion now, or what's that process? Okay, we have a motion to move consent agenda with the exception of those items that have been named and itemized by the county administrator. Here, no discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. It passes unanimously. Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 15 is a ratification of the actions taken by the board on your March 22nd workshop on alternatives to incarceration for the possession of small amounts of marijuana. This item was pulled by the chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'll defer to you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, I pulled this item because at our recent meeting of March 22nd at a workshop, what we did with respect to omitting voting against the staff's recommendation or voting for the alternative recommendation of adopting an ordinance. I pulled this because of an interest that we pass a resolution, and that's what this is asking us to do, to formalize our support for a resolution. But as I looked at item 18 and was going through our preparations, I find it irregular and ironic that we're giving consent to a needle exchange program if Big Ben Cares is selected to work in that. Now, I'm not sure how we have it both ways, that when you look at the two items read conjunctively, that we are willing to move forward with establishing a syringe exchange program, and that our staff, county staff, is going to work to draft a contract with this nonprofit to act as the county's program operator. This is very difficult to swallow. Local funds in the state, state funds in the state, municipal funds cannot be used in needle exchange efforts, but we can support an syringe exchange program sponsored by the federal government. Now, something is really terrible, y'all, because under 5, we don't want to recognize marijuana possession of 20 grams or less, and we won't move. We're sitting still, and we won't do anything to lessen marijuana and its criminalization of those who are possessing it. But this same consent agenda would have this board to commit the mockery of saying that we support a syringe exchange program and are going to contract with. Now, I don't know what kind of drug is, what kind of drugs you put in the needle, and if those are a stronger classification of drug than marijuana. But commissioners, I'm struck that our federal government supports a needle exchange, but they don't support voting rights for black people. Our federal government supports a needle exchange to keep poor people high and drugged out, which they say is to prevent the prevention of diseases. But our federal government doesn't support WMBE. And we're going to give a contract today to a company to pick up debris. And our staff goes out the way to suggest that we cannot, must not use WMBE and share money of the taxpayers. But we can do this needle thing in exchange. I don't want to support the needle exchange program because anybody using a needle that the doctor ain't loading up and the nurse ain't loading up, and you're just handing out needles, it usually not too legal and ain't too good. And I don't think that we should support a distribution of needles if we can't support decriminalizing 20 grams or less. So I feel this is a little hypocrisy in these two policies that are in front of us for a consent vote. So my ask today is if your comfort level is in supporting the federal government's syringe exchange program, but at the same time you're unwilling to, for us to establish, and I think 4 of us were there at the last meeting, to put an ordinance on the books that the majority of the citizenry of Florida are under the civil citation. And I think that just because one person elected as a state attorney spoke to you and I about his individual views, but I'm just all mixed up because what's lawful in one instance and what somebody says is unlawful in another, I'm confused. It's lawful in most parts of the state where it's a citation in most parts, but it's not in our community. And, Nick, we have a special session of the state government. And that special session has one sole purpose. And that purpose is to take away 2 black congressional seats and make those congressional seats Republican. So in our state, our whole state legislature is capitulating and delegating its legislative authority to the executive branch for something which the Constitution compels them to do, and that's redistrict. So I like to see us in all of this, whatever is legal, I don't know. But I believe that if we're going to have needles and give people the chance to get doped up on needles and out of needles, we ought to give people who use marijuana the same chance to not be, to be consistent with the rest of the state, and that we do the right thing and try not to kill off those who are marijuana and those who are using needles. We just give them what they want. So what I'd like to propose, commissioners, is a revisit to that motion, which we did nothing. We did not vote against a motion. We didn't vote against the staff recommendation. Either way, we simply opted to go the route of a resolution. So I trust that it's still open to us to come back with an ordinance that would reflect our keeping up with the rest of the state of Florida in the progressive thought that 20 grams or less ought give young people and any people a chance to not be criminalized. And I open for your comments. Commissioner Dozier.
Mr. Chair, while we have walked together, to use your good phrase, often on the issue of civil citations for a long time, I just got to say, I think these two issues are completely separate. And I appreciate all of Big Bend Care's efforts to help those who are dealing with the terrible virus and to prevent the spread. That is a separate issue to me, and we can talk about that when we get to that item, I suppose. For this item, I have been there for writing an ordinance, but it is clear that the 15 counties in Florida that have a civil citation program, which should be at least the first step. I mean, we've talked about this at length. We have a wildly just diverse array of laws across this country when it comes to marijuana. It is so unfair, and we need the federal government and the state government to step up. But for us locally, the difference is we don't have a state attorney who will work with us. And he said we can go and fund our own system to cover all 6 counties and all these different types of things. I know there are differences with those other counties in the state, but we need our law enforcement partners in the court and the state attorney to work with us if we were going to move forward on that to make it fair. So I think where we left the conversation was at the Sheriff McNeil's suggestion of really digging into how better to use the civil citation program that already exists. And I'd like to lean into that more. I would do anything to help convince our state attorney to change his opinion on this. But we've been through 2 rounds. So I'm not in a position of moving forward with an ordinance that really would either cost us a lot of money or not do the job we want it to do because we don't have the backing of the state attorney's office. And it is a difficult position for this board. So if we can find a third way, I'm all for it. And I'm always looking for those third ways because this is affecting people's lives every day. I will say I was going to bring up, and during comment time, I decided not to pull this item, but I was going to bring up a related subject during comment time. If you don't mind coming back to me, Mr. Chair, I'll let this discussion play out, and I'll drop it in here briefly. Thank you.
Commissioners, there's a recommendation option 1 and 2. Are there other comments? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion? Is there a motion for adoption of item 5, the recommendation options 1 and 2? Right. Okay, is there a second? Okay, it lacks a second. Yes, ma'am, Commissioner.
These are the options that are in the item, just ratification of our workshop and adoption of the resolution introduced by the Vice Chair.
That's
correct. Correct, Mr. County Administrator? So I'm making a motion for the consent item, not moving forward with the ordinance. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second the motion. The motion is for option 1 and 2.
Yes.
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Okay.
All right, is there other comments on this? Yes, sir. Ms. Vice Chair.
Madam Attorney, the chairman said it died for lack of a second after that point. Can it be seconded?
I am so sorry. I did not hear.
The chairman said it died for lack of a second after that point. Can it be seconded or someone else have to make it?
I made the motion again, Mr. Vice Chair, just to clarify.
All
And
right,
then we
motion's
got a
been
second.
made. Is there a second?
We got a second from Commissioner Minor.
Okay, Commissioner Minor seconded. Is there other discussion? Option 1 and 2. Okay, hearing, did you want, Commissioner Dozier?
Go ahead and take the vote, sir.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, aye. Okay, it passes 6-1.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'll make this very quick. It is a related subject. In the last couple of years, we took up the issue of those who have medical marijuana cards and what their status is within a drug-free workplace. This is one of the many things where there's conflict between the state rules and what we have to do with insurance and other requirements under those provisions. Not asking to revisit that issue. We need some movement on the state or federal level at that. But a business owner came to me and asked questions about legal CBD products that may have up to, I think it's 0.03 level of CB or of THC, and that these folks may test positive for THC and that may impact their employment status or their work on the job. This was intriguing because you can buy CBD products, it's a hemp product, at all kinds of stores right now. And if that is impacting people's employment, I think we need to know that, and I think the testing has advanced to the point where we should be able to distinguish between the two. So, Mr. Chair, I'd just like to ask for an agenda item to come back that looks into that issue to make sure we are in the correct posture, that we can distinguish between what is medical marijuana and what is a CBD product in our employment status, workers' comp, whatever that might be. So that would be, it's just for an agenda item so we can look at the issue.
Is there any objection to the item coming back? Hearing none.
I would need a second, Mr. Chair.
We need a motion on that?
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a second? Chair seconds, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. And might I note, Madam Attorney, on this issue, that the state attorney himself has noted, one of the things that gives him reticence about forceful enforcement, prosecution on some of these marijuana is that you cannot, science does not detect, Commissioner Dozier is absolutely right, because science does not detect the distinction of marijuana illegal from marijuana legal, and it tests and comes out measured the same way, whatever that science is.
We will review this issue, of course, as the board is directed, but I believe the state attorney at the workshop did represent that he paused prosecution while testing was not available to differentiate between hemp and marijuana, but that technology and that testing is now available. So there is a way to differentiate, and so he has commenced prosecution for marijuana because the testing is sufficient to differentiate between the two, but we'll bring that back in the agenda item for sure.
Commissioner Dozier, you satisfied with that? All right. Now, Commissioners, I want for the record, Scrivener to take notice that my vote is not against the resolution. My vote is against the inconsistency of what I've stated with syringe needles exchanges, and when our government gives needles but does not decriminalize marijuana possession, that's the difficulty that I have. So those things being said, what's our next item?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item pulled from consent is item number 10. It's a voluntary annexation of property located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Crawfordville Road and Capitol Circle Southwest. Mr. Chairman, that's pulled by you. I defer to you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I pull this item. This item is indicative of comments you've heard me say over and over and over. I don't even understand why this is before us. And the city, can staff speak to this? Can we get a report on this, please?
Certainly, we've got Barry Wilcox here who's available and ready to speak to this item.
Ms. Wilcox, can you tell us why this measure is before us?
Any annexations by the city are required to come before us per our interlocal agreement with the city.
What?
Annexations by the city are required to come before your body for any comment prior to annexation.
And this is across the street from Publix?
Correct.
All right. This emphasizes the point that your chairman has been making forever. I can't understand why black communities can't be annexed into the city that are north of this location. And I mean, Mayor Dozier, I don't know what the city stands for. And this is gerrymandering in its finest garment. And, you know, this business establishment is inside of Capitol Circle, across the street from Publix on Crawfordville Road. And you all, this community, heard me say that there are 8 black precincts in that area that the city will not annex. But this white company, the city is asking us to annex. I'm not going to vote for this. It's in my district because this is racial. And you don't have a reason to justify why this piece of dirt is worthy of city annexation, city authentication, city benefit. And the rest of these people have been down there longer than this company, and they can't get a goddamn thing from the city. This is a shame. It's 2022, and they're asking us to endorse racial gerrymandering. Commissioners, I can't do it. And what we will lose is a grand total of $1,287 of annual revenue by kissing this goodbye and allowing this company to be cherry-picked for city stars and stripes. Dozier, I hope you do a better job of leading the city. Is there a motion from any commissioner on this recommendation?
Barry, is the annexation request from who?
This is a voluntary annexation by the property. They've requested to be annexed into.
They requested.
That's correct.
Is there any motion for this? If it's not, then so be it. We have a motion and we don't have a second. We have a motion and we do have a second. Is there
Mr.
further
Chair,
discussion? Commissioner Dozier.
Your concerns are noted. We've had conversations for a long time, but as we did a few years ago, we dug deep into the annexation process, and this is where we are at this point. So, and it's voluntary, but there are bigger issues that we have discussed in the past, we could discuss in the future, but this one, I'm happy to make the motion for the folks who want to be annexed.
This is racial gerrymandering. Thank you so much, Commissioner Dozier. Are there other comments? Commissioner Welch?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to echo Commissioner Dozier's comments. I recognize your concerns. I think they're valid concerns. I also recognize Barry's role and our role as the county and the staff's, the nature of this situation, but I just wanted you to know that I do note your concerns.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner.
Here, Commissioner Cummings?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Having read this particular agenda item and just noting the voluntariness of it, and noting your concerns that you have made, Mr. Chair, about those individuals in that area on the south side that don't have those city services. My question is, or my concern is, and I'm not sure, Mr. County Administrator, if it's something you can address, but from the county standpoint, this is city. Is there any avenue that the county has from a jurisdictional standpoint or from any other position that would address citizens in that area if there's a concern that they are being deprived of annexation and as a result certain benefits, utilities, what have you, are being deprived of them? Do we have a role? Can the county play a role in looking at this or addressing this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, and of course, I'll ask the county attorney to chime in here and help out. But it's easy to confuse, I think, voluntary annexations from other annexations. This is a single property owner. This property is in single ownership. There is a procedure under state law where they can request that their property be annexed into the city, so long as, and this is where chastity will come in, so long as they don't do anything that's unlawful in that annexation, they don't create illegal enclaves, some of this is pretty technical stuff, then generally speaking, the position of this board has been to approve those. I would defer to the county attorney if you were to object to a voluntary annexation for things that were other than those things which are not lawful. then, how we would best position or how we would best posture those objections. But Barry's right. We have an interlocal agreement with the city that does provide for the voluntary annexation of these types of requests. And again, I'd have to look again on what the procedure would be for an objection to such a thing. But Chastity, I'll defer to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Commissioners, there are statutorily two ways for property to be annexed. One is voluntary, which is what you have before you. And as long as it meets certain criteria, then arguably there is no basis to object to the request for annexation, although we do get the opportunity as the county to provide comment on that. On page 157 of your agenda materials, you would see the comments from county staff regarding the proposed voluntary annexation, including feedback from the county attorney's office, public works, development services, environmental services, and place. The other type of annexation, so under the voluntary annexation process, any property owner can go to the city and request annexation, which would trigger it being sent over to the county for a review and ability to comment under the interlocal agreement that Barry referenced. So again, that's the process utilized in this case for this agenda item. The other way, statutorily, is an involuntary annexation. And that is something that, again, would be triggered by action of the city. The county does not statutorily have the ability to involuntarily annex any property into the city of Tallahassee. So the county's role is limited to providing the comment afforded under the interlocal agreement with the city. Barry, did I miss anything?
Nope, you nailed it. And it was found consistent with the interlocal element of the comprehensive plan by our Department of Planning.
Just one follow-up, Mr. Chair. And just piggybacking on comments again by the chair as far as disparities and inequities between, I believe it was mentioned, what a white property owner asking for voluntary annexation and perhaps other citizens in that area. If there is a factual basis for denying annexation, is that something we would be privy to from the county standpoint? Is that something we would be aware of, or is there any way that we could explore that possibility if it has occurred?
Mr. Chair? Okay. So as provided in the interlocal agreement, there are criteria that staff look at in evaluating whether the county should basically vote not to approve an annexation, whether it's voluntary or involuntary. And again, pointing back to page 158 of your agenda materials, these are the types of criteria that staff use to evaluate those. And were any other property owner in the unincorporated area to request voluntary annexation, these are the same criteria that county staff would look at to review and inform the board of any potential concerns related to that particular annexation request.
Just one last thought. So there is a process.
No, you're going to say one more question about 3-4 times.
So there is a process in place, so Madam County Commissioner, this County Administrator, for property owners in that particular area that desire to be annexed into the city. There is a process where they can make application, have that reviewed, but we are not aware of any instance where application has been made and it has been denied annexation, are we? Is that something we would be aware of?
No, if Mr. Chairman, if a property meets the statutory guidelines, if it's contiguous, if it doesn't create an enclave, if it's in single ownership, it comes to us, and again, upon a review by all of the different divisions to ensure the consistency, and if all of those things are consistent, then the board, again, pursuant to our agreement, does not object to the annexation.
But we're not aware of any denials.
And not aware of any that have come in that are different than that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think many people here have already expressed that they've noted your concerns over the last, since I've been on the county commission, you've been bringing it up. Can you remind us how many neighbors in the properties that you're talking about have indicated their voluntary willingness to be annexed?
The issue here is not that question. The issue here is voter suppression and all of these fancy words that banner back and forth. These black people are paying city utilities, of which 30 to 35% of that bill pays for city government services.
Yes, sir. And
they can't vote.
And I would agree with you. I think we should help them
I'm talking
annex.
now, Commissioner. The chairman is
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Next week, in this Capitol across the street, a seat called the Black Belt, Congressional Seat 5, is held by Congressman Lawson. And our state government desires to deny all of Leon County a Democratic voice in Congress. So we're going to be muzzled because the person who would take over this county as its voice voted against Joe Hatchert's name being on the federal courthouse building, voted against Obamacare, and frankly, doesn't give a damn about this county in the majority of its 58% Democratic voters. What we have down there is 8 precincts inside of Capitol Circle, Mr. Minor, who can't go to the poll and cast a ballot for Dozier or Daley for a city election, and they both are going to pay their salaries as commissioners. That's the problem, voter suppression. That's what not being annexed means politically. So I don't understand, and maybe Mr. Wilcox, you can tell me before I give the floor back to Mr. Minor, how is it that the city's thought inside of Capitol Circle over the Northeast, we've got folk on the other side of I-10, outside of Capitol Circle, well beyond these white areas, and they're annexing the city where all of them had to go through the little process outlined by the county attorney? And why is it that black people inside Capitol Circle to the south, just 3 miles down the street, 3 miles down the street, they can't get in the goddamn city? What's wrong? What's wrong? But all these people up here can vote in the city's election. That's the problem. That's the problem. And then encompassed with that is the nullification of black people being able to be represented in a Congress. Why can't we vote? All of this is a charade. And it's about voting and denying the citizens who pay the taxes through their city utility bill the right to vote. Is scandalous. Commissioner Minor, the chair recognizes you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with you in what you're saying. I think it is a travesty what they're doing to the district that is currently represented by Congressman Lawson. I think it's a travesty. I think there are people that are being denied the representation because of that. I also agree with you for the reasons that you've been talking about for many years about the folks that live in those areas that deserve to have representation as well. I agree with you on that. My point, though, is why this agenda item, number 10, is relevant to these points that you have just pressed so eloquently that I agree with. This is voluntary annexation. My question to you is, of the folks in those neighborhoods and those census tracts, have they indicated voluntary annexation? If they haven't yet, what can we do to help them get there? That's my question to you, sir. Because this agenda item, in my mind, is much different, a separate issue than what you're bringing up here. I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. But for you to be angry about this agenda item, when you're conflating these two items, and in my opinion, they are different. Let's talk about those neighborhoods and what we need to do to help them voluntarily annex.
Have every white person outside of Capitol Circle in the Northeast come humbly with their hat in hand and ask the city, oh, please, city, can we be annexed? How in the world does all of the North Side, did they all go through this singular process? Because I'm not seeing their application to be annexed. The chair recognizes the vice chair.
Mr. Chairman, I'm almost done here. One more thing. You know, we've been talking about this for years. What can we do to actually address and fix the problem? I'm not done yet. What can we do? Because we've been talking about this for years.
I want to pass this to staff to ask.
What can we do to fix the problem? Let's talk about what we're going to do to fix it, as opposed to continually express our anger about it and move on. Let's address it, the problem.
That has been the quest of
let's
the
do it.
chairman.
Let's talk about what we're going to do.
That has been my quest.
But for us to talk about agenda item 10, I still have the floor, sir. For us to talk about agenda item 10, which is a separate issue, it's voluntarily annexed, is a different issue than what we're talking about with you, with Congressman Lawson, and these neighborhoods that you've been talking about for a while. I agree with you on both of those points.
Black voter
but this
suppression
is a different
is the
agenda
same.
item. Thank you,
It's the
sir.
same at the federal level. It's the same here in the city. This annexation is just a charade. It's a ruse. That's what it is. It's all about voter suppression. That's what I see. The chair recognizes the vice chair.
Thank you. I think this all comes back to, what we're talking about here is more of a comp plan discussion on the city limits and voluntary annexation and urban fringe. And if Pam Hall were here, she'd probably be standing up, jumping up and down to speak right now, because the thing we have to consider is, and Barry, come up for me because I got a couple questions for you. Tell me, one of the conversations I had with Pam earlier on when she was teaching me about the comp plan and everything I know I learned from her was, I said to her the very first time, I said, well, why isn't every piece of the urban services area in the city? And she said, well, that's a good question. That's just where the city line is drawn right now. Barry, how much of the urban services is not in the city?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, Commissioner.
But there is some.
There's a fair amount, yes.
Is there a particular reason why that exists that way?
As things have developed out, developers have the choice of annexing into the city or staying in the county to go through their permit approvals. Obviously, it's much easier to annex when you have total control of a piece of property, than to try to annex after you've disaggregated it into 100, 200, 300 lots. Then you have 100, 200, 300 voters who then have to have a say in that matter. So much of the development that's been annexed in on the north side was annexed in prior to or during the development process.
Right. Let me ask you this, is there a process by which the city or the county can initiate annexation for a piece of land without the consent of those folks who live on the land?
That is what I believe Madam Attorney referred to as an involuntary annexation. Mm-hmm. I defer to her on the details of an involuntary annexation, because honestly, I don't think I've been involved in one at this point.
Can you tell me the process?
I don't know a lot of the details because it doesn't happen very often.
Mm-hmm.
But in either case, whether it's voluntary or involuntary, we would have the ability to evaluate that, determine whether it meets the criteria for annexation, and then object or not object to that annexation before the city takes a vote on it. But in either case, whether it's a voluntary or an involuntary, this board's role is limited in nature. It cannot initiate involuntary annexations based on its desire. It can either object or not object, and that's true for either type of proposed annexation.
Thank you. Barry, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you another question. Is the particular land or properties Commissioner Proctor's talking about, I believe you can probably identify by his description, are those located within the urban services area?
They are indeed, yes.
So it really comes down to that central question. Why isn't all of the urban services area that we've deemed to have to be urban services that should have urban services, which do have urban services, correct? Why aren't they, or why weren't they drawn within the city lines? Now, some of those people who live within these areas don't want to be in the city because, quite frankly, it's a lot cheaper to live in the county. So to have that conversation with them to say, hey, we're going to involuntarily annex you in, and they don't want it, I don't think that's the right thing to do. But I think if we do want to really talk about this, having a conversation around it, I always thought it made sense. When I had that first conversation with Pam, urban services is where we want growth to happen. Inside the city limits is where we want growth to happen. Why isn't the urban services area, why doesn't the city limits mirror or map out the urban services? Why is it not one and the same? Now, the other piece of it, that's where I'll stop, that I think we have to consider as a board is that within those urban services area, we bring in tax dollars. And as we start to inch out further and further with the city limits, those tax dollars come from us and go into the city. Is that correct?
I believe we still take a share of that. That's just a little outside of my purview, but I believe we still take our share.
Mr. Administrator, can you explain to me how that works?
Commissioner Mannix?
Yes.
Let me try to clarify. It's very simple. If an individual property owner wants to be in the city limits, all they have to do is request it.
Right.
And if they want to, as you noted, if they wanted to pay additional property taxes, and they could do that. You don't see that happen a lot.
Right.
What you do see is it happen pre-development.
Right.
With large tracts of property that will be developed later. And because there are advantages in the development process with respect to permitting fees, with respect to sewer hookups, and all of those sorts of things. But again, the issue that you're having around urban services and the city limits, two different issues just because of how the county and city have grown. Now, could you contract the USA to mirror the city limits? You could. That's an awfully big policy discussion that you could have. But again, to look at it most simplistically, any property owner that is outside the city limits who wanted to be inside the city limits and was contiguous and met the statutory guidelines could voluntarily initiate the process to do so.
Thank you. I think what Commissioner Prater is talking about and what we're having a discussion about right now, and Commissioner Minor, I think you're right. These are two separate situations. You have someone who wants to be annexed in, but we're talking about a larger discussion of policy-wise, should those folks who live in the urban services area be able to vote in city elections, but not even though they pay utilities, not if they're not in city limits because they don't pay city taxes. But Commissioner Prater, I do see your point. Now, the last thing I'll say is, if we ever went down that road, for the commissioners who were here, I think it was me, Commissioner Dozier, and Commissioner Proctor, we will have as packed a chambers as we had when we tried to put in universal collection, if not more. Because those people who live within the urban services area that are not in the city limits appreciate the fact that they don't pay city taxes. And those who don't, guess what they do? They ask to be annexed voluntarily. And a lot of people aren't knocking down our doors. So though I agree with the premise of what you're saying, Commissioner Proctor, I would rather go to those communities, explain the whole situation to them, and have them come to us to ask for voluntary than us ask the city to force it upon them to say, okay, we want to extend the city limits, and by way also increasing your tax burden because you're going to be in these city limits. So it's a trade of increasing your tax burden, but you'll also get the chance to vote. So it's much more complicated than just us saying, okay, we're gonna annex these people in. I think people have to understand what they're trading off, because there is a trade-off when they annex in. So thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to speak. I can't, I do agree with you. I do agree with you on the points that you're making. I just think we have to explain to people what they're getting by what they're asking for.
Thank you, Administrator. Thank you. Is there other commissioners who want to weigh in on this, right? Mr. Administrator, so in the urban services area that is not city, does the Tallahassee Police Department serve those areas?
They do not.
So these people are paying these utility bills, which 30 to 35% pays for TPD, but TPD will not service their areas. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay. So these are services that they are paying to undergird the city and those who live in the Northeast, where many of the wonderful people here joined today live. And the people who pay for undergirding Commissioner Minor, all the wonderful services, but they can't get it. The county administrator just told you the police won't come. City sewer, though they smell it, it won't come. Sidewalks won't come. Now, I want you all to just go down tonight to see the modern look of deprivation of services. See how dark Crawfordville Road is from where the Wilson Green community. The city limit stops at Wilson Green. Y'all know where Wilson Green 4 Point? And go south of that and see that there are no lights. There are no lights. Something is wrong in an all-American community. I want to ask the county attorney, why is voting or can voting designated for residents who pay for the city? Do these people have a chance to opt out and get Talquin, another utility provider?
So on the utility side, and we see this with the initiatives, the grant funding that we've had to extend the water and wastewater sewer service out in that part of town. Many people out there opt not to hook up immediately, even when services are available through the city of Tallahassee, because of the cost associated with receiving city utilities, as opposed to them continuing to just use the septic tank that's currently on their property. Now, actually, statutorily, the city can mandate that people hook up immediately when service is available. The city has that option. It does not exercise that authority and ability to do that. When they must hook up, though, when their septic tank fails, because what the Department of Health will do is will not allow them to permit a new septic tank if municipal utility services are available.
Okay. Thank you, County Attorney. To my question to you, my question was this one, and I appreciate that information, but my question was, do the citizens in the urban service area who are inside of Capital Circle and their city utility customers, do they have an option of being having another alternative, another utility? Can they pick and choose, or are they stuck and the city services imposed upon them and they have no voice or no choice? Is that accurate or what?
If another utility has the ability to provide service, then typically they get to choose. What you will see is there tends not to be an overlap in where those services are provided, because it's too expensive to install the infrastructure when you aren't sure about the hookups. So you don't see Talquin utility lines laid next to City of Tallahassee utility lines. There's a duplication of service that where the cost the juice is not worth the squeeze for utility companies to do that. That's why you have very specific designated areas where Talquin Utilities provide services, City of Tallahassee provides services, and where neither of them does, that's when people have wells and they have septic tanks. So practically speaking, there really is not a choice there, Chairman.
I didn't think so. So all across this area from Spring Hill Road back around to Capitol Circle at Southwood, we have hundreds of homes condensed, compacted in this area. And they have no choice. They have no voice in their utility provider. And yet they have no vote and no hope. And I appreciate all the wonderful words that you all have all shared. But when you look at Southwood, and Southwood has been online now for, 20 years or so, it comes with the full complement, not only of an urban service area designation, but they actually, Commissioner Minor, get delivered the designated urban services, underground utilities, sidewalks, a nice walk-around pond, lights on that street, everything that their utility bill pays for, they actually receive it. So even in the areas that are black, that pay city utilities, and they are in the urban service area, they are in, Commissioner, you're right, Commissioner Maddox, they are in the urban service area, but they are not in the city limit. Whatever that means, the city is limit. And the city has a limit. It surely does. It has a limit of what it does for black communities. It limits black communities. And that limit stops right there at Wilson Green neighborhood. And it's a tragedy. And Mr. Wilcox is not able to explain beyond a reasonable or not even a shadow of doubt as to why Centerville Road, Miccosukee Road, Meridian Road, Thomasville Road, 27, all these places extended for miles north, white people get to vote in city elections. And I don't think that all of them went through no rigmarole, what y'all talking about, to get to vote. And that's the problem here. So, Commissioners, it's a spot with this chairman that won't change as long as that real basic fundamental reality is present. And the city is smart enough, we're smart enough to figure out a whole lot of things. And I did have one question for you, Madam Attorney. That question is, can voting in a city election be based on where the urban service area is designated?
No,
Why not?
because it's based on whether you live in a city limits, and that is not consistent or tied to where the urban services area is designated in that community.
But where the urban service area is designated, the city can then provide and extend utilities.
Correct.
Okay, that's the problem. The city can make money, rip these people off, but at the same time, these people can't get a damn thing out of the city. All right, is there a vote for this motion? Is there a motion made for this option? Okay, hearing no further comment, all in favor, please say aye. Opposes, aye. It passes 6-1. Our next item, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your next pulled item is item number 14. These are proposed revisions to our springs restoration grants and septic system upgrades policies. Commissioners, all this item does is simply makes our policy consistent. Sorry, I was coming back to 12. That's right. I was just going in. I was staying with Commissioner Proctor's pulled items. I was going to go back to Commissioner Cummings, but let me do that. Item number 12 is the ratification of citizen review teams for 23 and 24 for the CHSP process, which was pulled by Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I'm sorry, County Administrator. Mr. Chair, I requested that item 12 be pulled for a couple of reasons. It involved a conflict. We have in item 12 the list of entities and organizations that have applied for funding through the CHSP process. And there are a couple of entities that I am involved with. There is an entity that I received direct financial assistance from as one of their legal counsel on a couple of cases. And there's another entity that I serve as a board member.
You're asking to be recused on this
So
item?
I'm asking to, yes. To
Madam
be-
Attorney,
to
can
be
we
recused.
acknowledge she's asking to be recused for those reasons?
Yes, Commissioner Cummings is, it's permissible for her. She does not have a conflict on option 2 if the board wants to split the vote, but she cannot vote on option 1, not because she is a non-compensated board member for any entity, but because of her legal counsel relationship with one of the entities on the list because these review teams will be bringing back recommendations to the board. Thank you.
Commissioner, do you desire to vote on option 2? We can split that 1 and 2.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Is there a motion for option 1?
Mr. Chairman, move option 1, please.
We have a motion. Vice Chairman is seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Is there, with Commissioner Cummings sitting out this, is there a motion for option 2?
Move option 2.
Okay, we have a motion on option 2, seconded by the Vice Chairman. All in favor, please say aye. It passes 6-0 with the recusal of Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Back on item 14, again, this is simply a policy revision which would allow our policy on septic tank systems upgrades to conform with new state guidelines for grants, which would allow people to receive grants individually pursuant to the state's guidelines. And that's simply what the item does. We're happy to answer any questions you might have.
This is excellent. Commissioners wanted to bring to our awareness and give thought to, first of all, I think that we should herald the availability of these funds. We need to put this out on a notice for persons who would be impacted. With at least I think there should be some mailers. There'll be 2 mailers at least, because it's an excellent program. And I don't know how you would know about this septic upgrade incentive program grant in these targeted areas. I think that the citizens need to be targeted in their area that this money is available. Secondly, commissioners, in the form of how we distribute the money, I referenced Commissioner Dozier, how we, with that PPE money, we gave the money to the tenants and not to the landlords. And here at the bottom of page 309, on page 2 of item, incentive program requires property owners to directly contract with the septic installer, and upon completion of the work, incentive payments are made directly to the septic installer or the property owner. I think that this money should be paid directly to the septic installer and not be left as an or, because if we, and I'm needing to hear a little bit of how, Mr. Administrator, how this program would operate by paying either the septic installer or the property owner. That's a lot of space, and somebody ain't gonna get paid. And I'd like for what occurred with the landlords who we gave checks to pay rent, and the tenants got the money, and the landlord didn't get it, Commissioner Maddox. So I'd rather to see, I'm leaning toward, once it's contracted with septic installer, that we pay the installer, and I wanted to lift it up for your consideration and hear a little feedback. I'll start with you, Commissioner Minor, and we'll come around to Dez. What are your thoughts? Do we pay the installer and leave it an option? And on what basis would we opt to give it to the owner as opposed to giving it to, do we have a basis to determine, it's willy-nilly? And I think we should just give it to the contractor. What's your thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. If you don't mind, I'd like to hear from my colleagues first, and if you'll come back to me at some point, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Very well. Commissioner Dozier.
Mr. Chair, wow, our county administrator looks very different for a moment. Hello, Mr. Deputy County Administrator. You just surprised me there.
A makeover.
And you're in the hot seat now, so I would direct a question to you. The rental assistance program, I don't want to conflate the two necessarily. That was a program administered very well by our staff, but as we talked about earlier with the business assistance, we had to set up that program very, very quickly. I don't necessarily see a problem at having this as a discretion, for the homeowner or for the contractor, because the funds are dedicated to one use. However, I guess the question for the Deputy County Administrator might be, if this is typical, because we've seen this type of money come through in the past, if this is typical to kind of have the option to give money directly to the homeowner or the contractor. Or for the county attorney.
County administrator, how is this working in the state? And we don't want to leave the contractor holding the bag empty. Work is performed, we gave it to the homeowner, but somewhere, the dog ate my homework and the check just didn't get delivered. Please help us to understand how to to avert installers from becoming disappointed in this process and start working.
And as you can see in the, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, as you can see in the attachment as well in the narrative, they have to be under contract. And then once the work is complete, the funds will be dispersed to the contractor. So nobody will be left holding any bags in the situation. They have to be under contract. The installer has to be under contract with the homeowner. When the work's complete, then the funds will be dispersed to the contractor. So there won't be any miss. The monies will go right to the contractor from the state.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Mr. Deputy County Administrator. That's a mouthful there. I knew there were some details. I didn't want to speak for our staff, so this gives me the comfort. Since I've got the mic at this moment, the discussion can continue, but I'd like to make a motion for option one.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All right, I think that the Deputy Administrator's point illumines for us that which is not made clear in writing. So with that clarification, it certainly grants comfort to me as well. All right, hearing no other discussion, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Carries unanimously. Our next item, I believe, Mr. Administrator, would be pulled item, was 15 withdrawn?
It's number 16, Commissioner.
Okay, number 16. Okay.
Number 16, Commissioner, is an item seeking the execution of pre-event contracts for disaster debris monitoring services with Tetra Tech and Thompson Consulting Services, of course, subject to legal review by the county attorney, and this was pulled by the chairman.
Okay, is Thompson Consulting Services a black company, a WMB?
Not that I'm aware, sir.
Is Tetra Tech minority company?
No, sir.
Okay. Commissioners, we pull this for the point of, again, emphasizing that our federal government denies voting rights bill. States are passing laws to suppress votes. And here the federal government disallows there being any kind of compliance. And FEMA has no requirements that there is MWBE participation. And what makes this stand out, Mr. Barber, what makes this stand out is that under the MWBE participation, the final pre-event contracts must comply with all FEMA requirements. And in that must is blackened. There's no other words in the narrative that must. And the second two words, it goes to say, therefore, prescribing minority and women business enterprise aspirational goals is not allowed. Underline that with blackened, not allowed by federal rules. This is racial discrimination, and it's a law. And when you do not, and you pay taxes, and all of this money rains down, and commissioners, what I'm trying to say is that this is a debris contract. What's the total amount of this debris contract?
Commissioner, this should be subject to if we actually had a storm. So the amounts will vary depending on if a hurricane occurs. There actually is no dollars expended except if we have a storm and we actually engage the services.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a blank check. Blank check. And it's picking up sticks. And since 1619, African Americans have been in this country. and have knocked down trees and picked up lots of sticks. But here we are with companies to pick up sticks, and it's valuable because it's millions of dollars, y'all. But the final contracts must comply with all FEMA requirements. Prescribing minority women business enterprise aspirational goals is not allowed by federal rules. This is racist in every way. It's discriminatory, gender-wise, and there is no reasonable basis that all of this money that we pay for, that women and minorities can't have some of this money. So the item before you is for option one. Commissioners, I need it for you to understand why I won't be supporting it. But we're in a kaleidoscope of discriminatory practices and rules and laws on why you can't vote, why you ain't in the city, what it take to get in the city. Contract come out by the county, but can't nobody get none but white businesses. This is crazy. So anybody want to make a motion, Chairman will entertain it.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Dozier?
I'm sorry, I thought Commissioner Cummings, were you in queue first, or you're good?
I just wanted to, Mr. Chair, make a comment. No, in reading this particular agenda item, I too was really taken aback that on the federal level, aspirational goals for minority and women participants was not allowed. However, I was encouraged that on the county level, on the contracting level, that it's encouraged with whoever is selected. And so with that encouragement, Mr. Assistant County Administrator, do we monitor that? Or if I may ask him, Mr. Chair, is that monitored? How strong of an encouragement is that? And I know these are contracts in the event of disasters, when we have major disasters, and I can imagine that in those instances, we're talking about urgent situations of gathering debris and what have you, but how strong are we as far as encouraging that, and do we monitor that to assure that there is some minority women participation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Commissioner. They're required under the contract to report all of the contracting activities as well as the activities that they would use to recruit minorities. So yes, we do monitor closely, and they will be required to do it under their contract.
And just a follow-up question, Mr. Chair. Since FEMA requirements disallow what have you, as it relates to minority and women subcontractors, does the inclusion of those, as far as our billing is concerned, to FEMA, is that exclusionary as far as reimbursement, or how does that work?
Ask the question again. I'm trying to understand the question.
Could you repeat the question, Commissioner?
Right. Since FEMA disallows that type requirement, if there are minority women participants, does that documentation exclude or in any way inhibit reimbursement from the federal government?
Not at all.
County?
Not at all. We can track it. It will not impact at all the reimbursement.
Okay. Well, I'm encouraged, Mr. Chair, that our county and county administrators are on task as far as assuring that there is some level of minority and women participation in these.
Got more confidence than I do, Commissioner. Thank you very much. Are there other commissioners? Commissioner Dozier, Commissioner Jackson, Jackson, then Dozier. Matter of, go ahead, Commissioner Jackson.
I'll go
Commissioner
ahead.
Jackson, I'll defer to you.
I think, look on page 320 of the agenda. There's 6 items that FEMA works under that make every attempt possible for us as a state and local government to involve minority and women in business to participate, even going so far as breaking large tasks down into smaller subcontracted tasks so that they can get their share of the FEMA funds. Delivery schedules for those businesses to respond, solicitation for those businesses to bid, service and assistance from organizations like our Small Business Administration, the prime contractor, if subcontractors are to be let, that they take those same steps listed above. So I prepared it at this time to move option 1.
Second.
Option 1 has been moved by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Dozier. All those in favor of the motion?
I want to say something.
Sorry?
I'm sorry.
Say one other thing. I'm sorry.
If I may.
Yes, Commissioner Dozier and Chairman Proctor, I'll hand it back to you, Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, you have brought up a number of issues today that your colleagues, many of us have spoken up on that we agree with, but they're outside of our jurisdiction. They're a city issue, they're a federal issue, a state issue. This is one we have dealt with for years on federal contracts for transportation, for disaster recovery, for others. We agree with you, sir. I wanted to respectfully note, as you often encourage others of us, we have not yet gotten to general business, and we got a joint comp plan hearing at 6, and we got a lot of folks in the audience who are here for the first 3 items on general business. I would love to see us get to some of those items before 6, so these folks don't have to wait until after the comp plan hearing. We've had a good discussion so far. I just wanted to mention that for right now because time's ticking away, and I wasn't sure if the chairman was going to call for a break, so I wanted to toss that in. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and I'm sorry. I'm appreciative, and I'm very aware that 28 is about the comp plan transmittal, and it seems to be a 45-second item, unless you had bases to carry it to something longer.
Mr. Chair, it's 5:15. I wanted to make sure we can get to our general business items before we have a hard stop at 6 o'clock and the City Commission joins us for the comp plan discussion.
I appreciate your concern, Commissioner Dozier, but we really have no ordinance that requires or fosters or limits the time in which that we have to get to anything. So I appreciate your concern.
You're absolutely right, sir.
We have 0 mandates that compel a set time of how much agenda we cover. But I am empathetic to what you're asking, and we're going to get there as swiftly but thoroughly as we can on prior items. Thank you. All right. I want to say here that when you bring an agenda item that says to this commission that we, in blackened terms, that we must not honor WMBE. We must comply with FEMA, and therefore prescribing MWSBE aspirational goals is not allowed by federal. When you put them words in black, and it makes me see a colored water fountain and a non-colored water fountain, because there's no other words with that stronger emphasis than to say that women and minority businesses must not, in black and writing. That's a slap in the face. And I hope that when y'all recommend this stuff, Alan, don't do nothing like that. That insults me. It's intense. All right. All in favor of this motion, say aye. All opposing, aye. Okay. If it's another 4-2.
Point of information, Commissioner Welch is out of the room and therefore did not vote.
Right. 4-2 with Maddox and Proctor opposing. Okay, what's our next item?
The next item, Commissioners, is item 18. This item provides a status report on the efforts to establish a syringe exchange program in Leon County. Additionally, we provide some additional information the board asked regarding HIV rates and strategies to address the transmission in the community. This item was pulled by the chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Administrator. Commissioners, I pulled this item, and I've already talked about it. And it's disappointing to me that our federal government compels our hand to must not allow women and minority businesses to participate in contracts. But our federal government will keep people drugged up and kite high with a needle exchange. You've heard me on this. I'm not going to support it. And it speaks to the hypocrisy of a federal government that's discriminating against people on the basis of their sex and on the basis of their race, but then it gives out needles to poor people to stay high. Those persons who are in favor of this option, if there is a motion, we'll accept one.
Mr. Chair, may I make a comment or observation regarding this item?
Commissioner Cummings.
In reading this item, it's my understanding, Mr. Assistant County Administrator, that we really don't have a service provider to be engaged in this program at this point. Am I correct?
Commissioner, yes, at this point, Big Bend Cares is evaluating the program. They anticipate by the end of September to have a decision on if they'll be able to do the program or not. And at that point, we would come back to the board based on the ordinance after negotiating a contract with them to allow them to administer it. If not, we've probably exhausted all options at that point, and we'd be recommending probably to consider sunsetting the ordinance at that point if Big Bend Cares does not move forward.
And probably one of the impediments is that the restriction on governmental funds, federal or state, cannot be used for the utilization of this program, I guess, to buy the needles, the syringes, or what have you. So whatever service provider is chosen is pretty much on their own as far as purchasing, as far as resources and purchasing the medical items that are needed.
Yes, ma'am.
And prevention of the spread of HIV is what I understand. Notwithstanding, I certainly understand the chairperson's position, but I think the ultimate goal with this particular initiative, even though it hasn't gotten off the ground, is the prevention of the spread of HIV in the community. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, other commissioners want to weigh in? Commissioner Chairman, Vice Chair.
This is just simply a status report. It's not asking us to do anything else, correct?
Correct. At this point, it's accepting a report, and we bring it back later depending on what Big Bend Cares does.
What this agenda does do is that it commits us that if or should Big Bend Cares, their board, vote to establish the syringe exchange program, then the county is teeing up to draft a contract with Big Bend Cares to be the county's program operator. So it's up to that board. And this is sort of premature coming to us, in my opinion. But it speaks to having good government outreach people if you're Big Bend Cares.
So the item, if approved, the report, if approved, does give that direction and action, or is that action already?
Yeah, we're giving Big Bend Cares. We're letting them know we're on board, and we're going to choose them to be the county's operator for us. They'll be our agent.
I'm at Mr. Chair, if you allow staff to. I just want to make sure that what you're saying is correct.
Okay.
Yes,
Am I misreading top of page 4 and to the question of Commissioner Maddox, County Attorney?
So the board adopted on December 10th of 2019 an ordinance. It's ordinance number 19-12, which is attachment 1 to the agenda item, authorizing the establishment of a sterile needle and syringe exchange program in Leon County. So since that time, the county staff has been working with different entities, non-public entities, to see if there is a service provider in the area who wanted to basically utilize the authorization under the ordinance. But for clarification, the board already authorized this sort of program in Leon County in 2019.
Right. And if, Mr. Deputy Administrator, you were saying if Big Ben Cares does not wish to participate with us, then you will bring back something asking that we sunset it? Is that what I understood you to say?
Commissioner, yes, at this point, we've exhausted all other options and conversations with all other potential providers. This is the last provider based on conversations with the health department and all the primary care providers in the community. This would be the last provider that would potentially be able to provide the program. After that, we have nothing, we have no other options available.
I kind of agree with Commissioner Partner on some points. I mean, I wouldn't mind being the son of a mother who was a drug addict, seeing this be sunset. But I do understand the usefulness of it on the other side of it, but it's just, to me, it's a little bit deeper than that. So, but this is simply a report. The report doesn't push us forward to any other action. As I understand it, Mr. Administrator, it'll come back to us for us to approve if Big Ben Cares does say they want to jump into this with us, it will come back for our approval for final contract, correct?
Correct. As the attorney said, the ordinance authorizes us to do that, but yes, the final contract will come back to the board for approval.
I think I might have voted against this in 2019. I'm not sure, but what I will do today is simply a report. But I will say that it's hard for me to support moving forward with the ordinance, given my background and what I've seen and been through as a result of syringes and things of that nature. So I'll go ahead and make the motion to accept the report with the understanding that my support likely wouldn't be there when it comes to actually supporting the contract.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, hearing no other input, all in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposers, same sign, aye. It passes 5-1 with me opposing. Okay, our next item.
Commissioners, your next item is item number 20, your last item pulled from the consent. This item seeks the board acceptance of the March 2022 Economic Dashboard Report, which quantifies economic health and growth in Leon County every quarter to evaluate local economic vitality. This item was pulled by the chairman.
Thank you, Commissioners. This was an excellent item. Commissioners, kudos to the godfather, the godmother of our economic development team. The unemployment levels for fourth quarter of 2021 were up 5.3% over last year. The unemployment rate in our metropolitan area is merely 3.1%. The new single-family construction permits were 32% higher than the 10-year quarterly average between 2021 and 2020. This is phenomenal. The median single-family home sales price rose 11.6% to $278,000 in our area. So often we're talking about affordable homes, but please note that the median, the average home that's sold is $278,000. I'm not quite sure what affordable home in Tallahassee, what that means. And then to lift up and point out in this excellent report that the industrial vacancy rate, get this, is 1.1%, which was real big last year, 2.0. But to say that there's only a 1.1% vacancy in industrial, I'm not sure if it speaks, Alan, to Amazon, its impact. Some of us attended the meeting by Telcor to present to us about the commercial landscape. But in your opinion, or is there opinion by staff, because we don't have an analysis of that, what makes this market so incredibly in high demand?
I think it's an attractive place to be, Commissioners. I think you've seen it through all the efforts of OEV on the regular outreach to try to recruit and bring business and land businesses here. You have incredible opportunities right now for expansion of local businesses, which we're taking up a lot of that space. And of course, Christina Paredes can fill in any gaps that I didn't offer if the board wants more.
Okay. Commissioners, this is just exceptional, probably the best economic report I have ever seen. And I wanted to pull this just to give a shout out and kudos where they're deserved. And they are well deserved in this report. I want to thank you, Alan, thank you, staff, for your fine work. Is there a motion to adopt this report? Okay, we thank you. Motion second. All in favor, please say aye. It carries 5-0. At this point, Commissioners, we reach our general business, and at this point, the chairman is going to take a break. We'll come back after our brief 6 o'clock meeting with the city.